We don't have a good word for that activity that results in ideas that move our businesses forward. We call it thinking. But thinking is just about the most destructive thing we do, and not just in business. Whatever we think about, we destroy, because 9 times out of 10, we make the fatal mistake of not thinking toward it, but thinking from it. One way leads to success and one to a dead end. When Einstein came up with his general theory of relativity, did he think his way into E equals mc squared? Or did he see it as a reality in the universe? You can't think about things you can't see. So most of what we do in our businesses shouldn't even be called thinking. It's really projecting from the past. And no matter how we try to dress it up, all we're doing is rehashing things that didn't work before, or maybe did for a while, but don't now because those tactics were based on a world that no longer exists. Today on The Visible Authority, how to perform the magic of not thinking. Most truly useful inventions are created when really smart people are trying to do something else. Penicillin came about because Sir Alexander Fleming went on a 2-week vacation and came back to a messy lab with mold not growing all over the place. He didn't think about it, he got curious, and what he saw under his microscope changed history. In 1895, a scientist named Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen is playing around with a vacuum tube covered in cardboard, who knows why, when he notices a mysterious glow coming off a nearby screen. He calls that glow an X-ray because he has no idea how it was produced. But when he puts his hand in front of it and sees his bones, the most important diagnostic tool of the century suddenly manifests. To this day, we measure the intensity of that glow by his last name, Röntgen. Star Trek would measure antimatter reactions in terms of Cochrane's, after the inventor of warp drive, Zefram Cochrane. I mean, I know it's fiction, at least for now. But at no point did any of those geniuses, real or imagined, think their way into history. They saw things in nature and imagined what might be based on a need. Like Ruth Graves Wakefield, who invented chocolate chip cookies the day she ran out of baker's chocolate and cut up some semi-sweet chocolate, assuming it would spread evenly throughout the batter. It didn't, and her mistake became the invention of my favorite dessert. Well, she didn't think her way into history with that one. Even Viagra was an accident on the way to an angina medication. It didn't work for the heart, but it did for affairs of the heart, and those affairs rarely involve thinking. When they do, it kills the romance. In fact, the scientific method itself doesn't rely on thinking, but on observation of nature and the connection between things that most people do not see. Scientists get a hypothesis through intuition. They test it, and the test works the same way every time. They watch an active force hitting a passive force, like how the sun shines down on the leaves of a tree. Sun active, leaves passive. Then they try to observe the reconciling force that results from that. And if the hypothesis works, they try to capture that reconciling force in a bottle. In fact, the discovery of active, passive, and reconciling forces itself came from observation of nature, not from thinking. When we think, 99% of the time we think from our past. This is not very helpful because in the moment we're doing that, we set ourselves outside the possibilities that live in the present, which is where active, passive, and reconciling forces are all coming together, where new possibilities are born every second of every day. That's where creativity, clear reasoning, and great results come from. You want to innovate. I know you do. Innovation is one of the main ways your authority is built. How can that ever happen if I accept the idea that all I have to do is copy the success of the guy in front of me? Isn't that one of the main ideas to come out of the success industry? But what that actually does is separate me from my ability to be in the moment. I'm always trying to recapture the moment before. And as we all know from painful experience, there's no point in rehashing the things that have outlived their usefulness. Maybe we need a better word than thinking, but it's such a psychological trap because at one level, a very low level, it's true that I think, therefore I am. See? We can't even imagine our existence without thinking about it. But if we want our businesses to succeed on all levels, we have to understand this. So, whether you consider yourself an artist or a scientist, you can use your emotions to tell the difference between thinking and clear reasoning. It's really simple. Anytime you feel frustrated, angry, sad, resentful, whether at yourself, someone else, or just the world in general, just know you've fallen into thinking. You aren't seeing anything real. You're only seeing the content of your own resistance to reality. Oh, Steve, are you saying that every negative reaction that results in thinking is bad? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. I told you it was simple. I never said it was easy. But if you want to get your message deep into the world, and especially use video to do it, you must be clear on who you are and how exactly you help others, and present it in a way that makes complete sense to them. And to cut off your possibilities by thinking out of a low level of consciousness is to stop any progress that you might have made up until that moment. So, stop thinking. Instead, look up, be up. It's nice up there. The air is clear and sweet with prosperity and possibility, and the view is spectacular. I think that's a fair trade for letting useless thinking fade away and allowing your intuition to grow. Stand in the gap between your negative reactions and the thoughts they produce and watch your business grow. Thank you for watching. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next time on The Visible Authority.